Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay, the number one source for competitive Legends of Runeterra news and information. If you're looking for the best decks to play right now, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Master Runeterra or in our Discord. And if you want to take the next step in leveling up your game, check out our Runeterra team on Patreon, where we do weekly learning calls and one-on-one coaching. Now strap in and grab yourself some Boro snacks, because we are about to start Mastering Runeterra.
Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay. We've got a great show for you today. This is our second to last episode before seasonals. I was going to say our last episode before seasonals, but we will have one Friday right before seasonals. But I mean, if you're
here's my lineups. Please pray for me.
Yeah, if you're in Southeast Asia, like your seasonals is probably already like starting when we release. So it's the last one that kind of really matters, that we can you can glean a lot of information from, and that we can sort of impart what our thoughts and try and like help anyone listening to the podcast that's preparing for seasonals. Before we jump into all that, though, of course, we have to thank all of our patrons that support us. Thank you so much over at our Patreon. Appreciate you guys. For anyone that doesn't know, we have a Patreon team. We do learning calls every single week, where we answer questions that you guys have. We do VOD reviews. So there's a tier where you can submit a VOD every single week. I find them incredibly helpful. Bay and I also submit our own. There's literally no better way to learn than having like 20 or 30 other good players, discuss through the different plays that you could make, because the game's so deep, right? And there's so much to learn from each other. So if you're looking to improve or just join an awesome community, come hop on, check us out in the Discord. Links below, all that good stuff. And of course, we have to thank our sister podcast, Runeterra Radio. If you have not seen them yet, go check them out. Saucy and Blevins are amazing. If you want more awesome Runeterra content, Runeterra Radio, all the usual places. And with all of that said, let's get into it. So, seasonals, 1 week away. It is crunch time. This time last seasonals, I was deep in the thralls of playing Thresh Nasus.
Deep in thralls?
But it's gonna be a long one. He'll be here all week, folks. I should. Where's my? I gotta get my. Let's see.
Like sound clips? Oh, not those again. Not the sound bites again.
Oh, wait. There's a better one.
I can't hear these.
Oh, you can't hear them? Oh, let's see. Oh, hold on. Here it is. Hold on. My bad. Sorry, guys. You couldn't hear any of these. Only I can hear them. Oh, good one, Bay.
Thank you.
I get endless amusement out of it. Anyways, so I was basically just playing ladder a bunch and was like, okay, I got 1 week left. Better learn my decks and go. And then I just continued playing the ladder, trying to finish in the top 10. And couldn't quite make it, and I didn't learn my decks, and then didn't do well enough in seasonals. This time is kind of the opposite. I cannot climb for the life of me. I'm hovering around between 0 and 150 LP for forever. Still have to qualify. Don't want to let that happen.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah, right? I forget sometimes that you have to actually be high enough. But my week is totally cleared. But it's looking like I'm probably not going to make the 7-2 cut this season. So that means I'll have to go 8-1, which is like, whew, it is tough. It's not easy. So, but I do feel in a much better position to go 8-1 than I did to go 7-2 last seasonals, because I've played a lot more. I've played with a lot of decks. I've done a lot of losing with a lot of them, but I've learned a lot from the meta. There's not many decks I haven't played with or played against, or know a decent amount. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I feel like I'll get my lineup finished the next like day or two, and then I will just be grinding games out with my lineup, doing scrims, and going into seasonals. I'll be pretty on lock. I'll be pretty set. What about you, Bay? You said yesterday on the podcast that you were feeling a 5, but like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I gave a 5. I asked everyone to rank their preparedness as opposed to other seasons, and I gave a 5, which Jason pointed out it's probably a faux 5, and that's probably correct. The only thing I'm not prepared on is what my lineup is, but it changes all the time. Like I have just probably 6 decks that I could just pick and be like ready with.
Yeah. You've put in so many reps with so many decks that like you have options and you're gonna play them all at a high level. So yeah, like you're pretty prepared. So it's just your whole thing.
What I end up playing, I just don't know what I'm gonna play. And I've been changing. Like there's a bunch of decks, so I'm just gonna name the ones that I've been like really considering. Ezreal Draven is something that I really want to make fit in my lineup. I'm very comfortable with the deck. I think it's pretty good into most things. Got a lot of play to it, and I like that. The other decks that I'm like, and then the other one, Ezreal Draven is like highest priority for me. Like I would really like to get Ezreal Draven in there, which is funny because you don't really see it on ladder. But I just think it's a really good deck. And then the second tier is like Plunder, Deep, Shen Jarvan, Zoe Lee. Like these are the other decks that, and maybe like a Viego deck. These are like the decks that I would like to get in there. And then another tier down is like the more fringy stuff. So like Anivia, Tom Raka. Like I could play all these decks, but yeah, I just have to figure out what kind of a lineup I want to go with. Like, do I want to be kind of soft to aggro? Do I want to destroy aggro? Do I think a lot of people are going to show up with Anivia? Like, this kind of stuff is it's tough, and it's just going to end. Like at the end of the day, I know I'll be doing myself a disservice if I do pretty much anything besides just play what I think are the best decks. Like, every time I do that, I regret it. Every time I like veer away from that plan, because I just end up playing against like a bunch of piles.
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to like metagame the format in a 1,000-person open tournament, it doesn't go well for me. I just like to show up and just beat people. Like, like, okay, my 3 decks are better than your 3 decks, so let's go. Or like if I have to play mirror match after mirror match of like Ezreal Draven and stuff, like I'm like, thank God. Like I would love to just play mirror matches all the time. I feel very comfortable in these decks, very comfortable in the mirror matches. So like that's what I want to be trying to do. I don't think I'm in a spot where I need to be like, okay, gotta try to win these guys in win these matches in lineup. Yeah, it's nice when your lineup just like perfectly counters somebody else's, but the opposite is possible. You bring a lineup and you get countered, and so I want to lower the possibility of that as much as possible.
Yeah, I think this seasonals especially, it's just going to be a mixed bag of things. I think there's going to be a lot of just so many different lineups, so many different decks, very different. I think than what we saw like last seasonals, where it's like basically everyone and their dog brought Nasus Thresh and like dragons. And what was the other deck that like
Ezreal
and Ezreal? Yeah,
I
and
played
like
against
Aurelia
the straight mirror.
It was like those
the
4
lineup
decks.
Mirror? Yeah. I played against the straight lineup mirror like 4 times, I think, where it was like Ezreal Draven, Thresh Nasus, Targon deck.
Yeah, I played 2 out of 3, like 7 of the 9 rounds, and then a few times it was like 3 of 3. So this time though, I think.
Probably not the case. Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be all over the map. Every single seasonals, we've always been super prepared for triple aggro, and I've basically never seen triple aggro. I almost
it shows
never
up
run
every
into
now and
it.
then, but rarely.
And I'm
I played
afraid
triple
that
aggro like max 2 rounds, I think, in a season,
this
and
is-
it was one of the
Yeah.
the ones of 5.
This is the thing,
back
though.
then.
On the ladder this season, Pirates, discard aggro, lurk, Aurelia Azir, if you want to lump that into aggro. but especially those first couple have done very well. Pirates has done very well. Discard Aggro has done very well. And so I think that makes a big difference. Those decks, Pirates has not really been a meta contender at Masters like the whole time. It's always been like not quite good enough. And Discard Aggro kind of like ebbed and flowed on how good it was. And I think that makes a huge difference. And so I think we're going to see a decent amount of aggro, and I'm really afraid that this is going to be the time that I go in a little bit weak to aggro, and I just get slapped around. And it's tough though, because on the other end of the spectrum, you've got people going over the top with like Karma decks and Nivea, and so it's like, you know, you're going to need some luck, I think. With obviously how your games go, but then also just kind of how your matchups end up, like how your pairings are. So speaking of lineups, though, I realized something that so first off, when you get rid of all the pink and yellow decks, the Ionia, Shurima decks, because there's a bunch of them that are very good, but you can only play one at the most. So you get rid of like either pick one of those or play none of them. Then you're left with like not a lot of decks left. First off, to like play against, and second off, to like actually choose that you want to play. And then if you go even farther, so like decks that I know how to play well for my lineup, and then also decks that I want to play. It's like, man, that list gets really short really fast. Yeah. So like I'm gonna do it right now while we're on the podcast and doing this live. So decks that I could play because I think they're good and I know how to play them well enough. So like GP Sej, sure, check. I'm actually going to go down the list of most played decks on the ladder. So GP Sej is currently the most played, or has been since the last patch. Aziralia, yep. Action Zed, any of the Sivir decks I am not going to play. I've not played nearly enough of, and I just don't particularly like them. Pirates, nope, not going to play it. Lurk, nope, not going to play it. Lulu Zed, no, not going to play it. Discard, not going to play it. Shen Jarvan, nah, not gonna. I haven't really been loving it. It's like technically on there. I have played it a bunch, but I really don't. I don't know. I don't really love it. I kind of like put it down. I think when I realized that I didn't love the GP Sej matchup. The GP Sej matchup is bad, I think. Slightly unfavored. Yeah, so that kind of sucks.
Sejuani just absolutely shuts you down. Like, if Sejuani levels, the game ends.
Yeah, and then Easy Draven's also not great. So I'm just going to pass it. I'm going to say I don't want to play that. Like, if I get desperate, maybe I'll come back to it. Easy Karma, I love. And I played a bunch. I really enjoy it. But, again, GP Sej not good. Aziralia not good. Sivir deck's not good.
These are decks I expect to see a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so again, I'm going to pass. Easy Draven, I know you're really high on it. I played it a bunch. I don't love where it's positioned in the meta at the moment. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that goes over top, a lot of stuff that goes underneath. The GP Sej matchup isn't great. And so it's like, it's getting kind of a little squishy. I don't know.
But I like about Ezreal Draven, I think a deck that we're discounting a lot, that we're not like maybe paying much attention to, are the elusive decks. Things like Zed Lulu, the traditional Zed elusive decks. Like, these decks are kind of killing it on ladder right now. They're really making a big splash. And Ezreal Draven just like eats these decks for breakfast. And that's really nice. Another, like, I was considering that. I was like, man, I would really like to have a lineup that like beats up these like elusive decks. And you know whose lineup absolutely destroys them? Who just says thanks for the free win? What am I? His lineup almost looks tailor-made to beat these elusive decks.
Yep.
Zoe Vi, TF, Viego with a bunch of Make It Rains and line 'em ups and stuff, and then Anivia.
That TF Viego deck, man. I don't get Kid Control.
I like it. I really like it. I might play it. It's really good.
I do not understand that stuff at all. Okay, I'll put Easy Draven on there because that's definitely a contender. Action Sivir, no. Anivia, I was on. We just played a few games though, and It's supposed to be good to GP Sej, but like I don't really see it.
It's like maybe like 55.
Yeah, at the most. And if I'm gonna bring something like that, like I want to body GP Sej. Like I want a 55 to 60 for sure. And yeah, I don't know. It was we just played a few games before the podcast, and GP Sej won 2 out of 3. Not like a huge sample size, but we've played the matchup before on the ladder and stuff, and in scrims, and it's tough. It is a tough. It's not super easy matchup for GP Sej. I think also I want to say I'm interested to get your thoughts on this. I feel like it's a matchup that people weren't used to. So like from the GP Sej side, like you could make a lot of mistakes. And I don't know if you kind of figure it out a little bit more on what's important and how to play around their answers. I feel like it's one of those ones that started wide, and I feel like it's just gotten tighter and tighter. What do you think?
That. I feel like if you can play the Plunder deck, you play against Anivia the same way you play against every single Avalanche Vengeance Ruination deck.
What other Avalanche Vengeance Ruination decks?
All of them, forever, since we've been playing.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I didn't play GP Sej ever when those other decks were...
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you have the knowledge of how to play GP Sejuani, and you know how to play against a Shadow House Fire control deck, you just play against it the same way. I would say that the learning comes more from the Anivia side.
Fair enough.
But like I'm with you. I do not think that match, like if you're bringing Anivia to beat Plunder, it's not good enough. In my opinion.
Yeah. Okay,
now,
so Anivia,
yeah. I was just gonna say, but Anivia smashes aggro and Ezreal Draven.
Yes, and like the TF, some of the other ones like TF Swain or TF
and stuff. Yeah, you just crush.
TF Gangplank.
Absolutely body. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Shen Jarvan's supposed to be really good also. So I don't know, like maybe Anivia. I'll put Anivia way down at the bottom. Okay. Going on. Zed Sivir, no. TF Swade, no. Fiora Shen, no. Viego Shurima, no. Or sorry, Viego Ionia, no. All these decks I have not put a lot of time into. Action Lee, no. Zoe Lee, yes. I am very high on Zoe Lee right now. I really want to play it.
Yep. I waffle between unplayable and really good. I can't make up my mind.
Yeah. I just keep winning with it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than like I just keep getting the wins, and people are kind of sleeping on it right now. I mean, it does have some weaknesses, but I also really enjoy playing it, and like it's not like the deck's like a lemon. Like it does have a lot of power, and so like frankly, if I feel like if I brought Zoe Lee and it just shat the bed and I didn't get there, I'd be like, I took a shot. I liked it. I went for it. I wouldn't be mad about it.
I'm the same way. I could play Zoe Lee, and like I got pretty frustrated 2 seasons ago when I brought it, and like I just couldn't find Lee like the whole tournament. I got pretty frustrated then, but like even then I was like I enjoyed playing Zoe Lee. Like I had fun. I like the deck, and that goes a really long way for me. Really long way.
Totally. Whereas if I brought something like, I don't know, if you were like, hey Jason, last second, here's this freaking whatever deck that someone made up. I'm like, oh, okay, and like I didn't really like it, but it was supposed to be good, and I lost with it. I'd be pretty like butthurt about it. I'm like, this feels bad. This is shit. Okay, moving on. Predict, no. Viego Shurima, no. Lulu Jinx, no. Deep, I know you are in love with, but I cannot make that deck work to save my soul. So I'm not about that. You want to talk about Deep a little bit? Where are you at with Deep?
So Deep doesn't like. Deep should lose all the time, basically. It just should.
It does when I play it.
And then like I have like a 70% win rate on Deep on ladder. Like my initial push up to like I went from like 0 LP to like 350 on Deep, and then I went from like 350 to like 550 with like Shen Jarvan. Oh no, flip it. And like Deep just it just works for me. I played against Azir probably 10 times with Deep in the last month. I may have lost twice. Like, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just getting super, super lucky or something. But, like, I'm winning bad matchups all the time. The matchups that are, like, pretty unwinnable, though, is, like, Lee. Lee's pretty unwinnable. The elusive decks are pretty unwinnable. And,
I think you need to put in some... have you put in matches against, people that know their decks in the matchup, and i.e. like just not people on the ladder, because like those results are like tough to tell, right?
Yeah. A little bit, and like Deep hasn't performed obviously as well, but like when I'm playing against the other like really 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 good players, like my decks just aren't. I'm not gonna win as much. It's just how it works.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean Deep just it seems to kind of do it. But Deep does open up a lot of problems. It is a good matchup against Plunder, which I really like. It's a good matchup against Plunder. I believe it to be a pretty good matchup against Ezreal Draven, even though the stats don't say that. But I feel like it kind of is. And then, like you beat up the Shen decks, you beat up a Nivea. So you just ban, you ban pink-yellow. And yeah, you have to worry about like pirates and stuff, but like we talked about, triple aggro is just not really everywhere. But I am really worried about like Azir elusives. If I show up with Deep and Lee Sin and my opponent has Azir and an elusive deck, I'm halfway to a loss already.
Yeah, that's scary. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Viego Freljord, nope. Karma Thresh, nope. Viego Nasus, no. I've barely played any Viego. Karma Thresh is Spooky Karma, which frankly I just think the deck's like not great. I don't know.
It's just not good enough. Yeah.
I don't get it. Turbo Thralls I like as a deck, but just seems to have all kinds of holes. And some problems. Star Spring, the new hotness. I don't know. It also has a bunch of holes.
It's good. Someone will qualify to top 32 with Star Spring.
There's always one. I'm
gonna say there's gonna be 2 people this time.
I can see it. Okay, keep going. Reputation, haven't really played it. Thresh Viego, nope. Thresh Nasus. I have played a lot of Thresh Nasus. I do not think that deck is particularly good right now.
So that's about as far down as we need to go, I feel like. What do we got?
Hold on, there's actually one more here that I want to hit. Okay. So Spiders, no. Scouts, no. Ash Noxus, no. Draven Riven, no. Elise TF Go Hard. That's one I'm like a little interested. Okay. I'm looking at looking at the stats here.
The Go Hard. You beat up aggro.
No? Yeah, I thought the GP Sej matchup was good for Go Hard, but these stats are saying it's 45% for Go Hard. And then I think the one time I played the matchup I lost as Go Hard, but I think I lost as GP Sej.
I have lost to GP Sej with Go Hard. The problem with Go Hard I'm finding is I think the deck right now is just underpowered.
Yeah.
It's not doing. It got power crept is what it feels like. Just a smidgen, just a little bit, because it's not like glaringly obvious when you look at the cards, but like when you play a game, you kind of feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, Go Hard also itself, just like, I don't know,
the
like
card
less
itself
impressive.
Is not great right now.
Yeah, it used to be. It used to be kind of hot.
Yeah.
It used to kill everything, and
you don't kill much with it now.
Yeah. Action Sivir, Freljord, no. TF Gangplank, Action Sivir,
what was the other one you wanted to get to?
TF Viego. Go Hard was the other one, but then I saw another one on here. Tarek Jarvan, no. Timo Lulu.
What is it? Just tell me what it is.
It is Timo Ezreal Freljord, a.k.a. Prezreal. I just really like the deck. The stats here I'm seeing it loses to everything.
Yes, the deck is bad.
Apparently loses to absolutely everything. I do a bunch of winning with it. I've always enjoyed it, but we'll keep that off there. So, looking back at my list here, I literally have GP Sej, Azir, Zoe Lee, and then down below that, I have Easy Draven and Nivea. Which Nivea I basically just wrote off, and Easy Draven I'm not super hot on. So like,
the top 3 were Plunder, Aurelia, Azir, and what was the other one?
Zoe Lee.
Just play those.
I think I'm just gonna play those.
Let's run it.
Definitely don't want to run into triple aggro.
No, you will probably lose.
Yeah. So like Azir Relia, I think is the biggest offender there against triple aggro. So I could slot in like a different pink and yellow deck, be it
Sivir.
A Sivir deck, or or like the loop deck, which I don't think I want to do. I guess it's probably just Sivir, hey?
Yeah. Probably.
Because it can't be actionly.
Darn, I gotta play the literal best deck in the format. Ugh. Man.
How much better though is Sivir Zed action against the aggro decks?
Oh, like a lot better.
Oh yeah, so it looks here like according to these stats that we're using, Lurk is favored. So you're 53% against Lurk. You're 50% against Pirates. 38% against Lulu Zed. 42% against Discard.
Yep.
42% against Shen Jarvan. Oh yeah, I guess kind of.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Shen Jarvan beats you up really bad. I want to put Shen Jarvan in my lineup so bad, but all my other decks want to ban Sivir. Zoe Lee,
you're better into Easy
all
Draven.
these other decks want to ban Sivir. So, can't really put it in there.
Yeah, so it looks like from what I'm seeing here, the action Zed Sivir deck compared to Azir Relia, the matchups that's worse, it's worse against GP Sej. Yeah, that makes sense. Better against Lurk. Better against Pirates by a significant amount. It's like 50% compared to 36%. It's better against Lulu Zed by a bit, 38% to 31%. It's better against Discard Aggro by a lot, 42% to 28%. A little bit worse to Shen Jarvan, 42 to 49. A little bit worse to Easy Karma, 56 to 61. A lot better to Easy Draven, 56% to 37. Better against Action Sivir, 55 to 51. Significantly worse. Significantly worse against Anivia, 52%
we don't gotta go through every matchup.
to 81%. Okay, I'll go through all of them. And then worse against the Viego decks. So a little bit of a trade-off, but shoring up that those aggro matchups, I think, is probably worth it.
I just think it's a better deck. I think it's a more reliable deck. Aurelia Azir, for me, is just like, sometimes you just don't find Azir and you just lose. And you're like, nah, well,
that's very true. One of the nice things about it also is that I could play it on ladder and feel pretty confident that I'm not making a mistake or anything, you know?
You could just run it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just run it.
100 games with it.
Just be fine with it. Which is basically what I'm going to be doing.
It is by far the best ladder deck right now.
Is it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the top 4 are all playing Sivir Action.
Yeah, but are they still playing, though? They're just chilling, aren't they? I don't think they've played in like a week.
Someone just hit rank 1 with it like today.
Oh, really?
I think Lucer Beam. Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, and then the other decks are like Plunder.
Call it a podcast. We are done here.
He knows his lineup. Yeah,
that's very exciting. I'm like, I got chills almost. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I have some decks that are not bad.
This is so exciting. I honestly should be playing Sivir Zed, like Sivir Auction or whatever. I should just be playing it.
In your lineup,
it's so good. Yeah, I should just be playing it in my lineup, and I know how to play it well. Like I've played it a lot.
Yeah.
Why am I not playing it?
You crazy?
Crazy because I want to play it, or crazy because I don't want to play it?
Because you don't want to play it. Trying to get deep working and stuff. Whose list am I stealing then? And for all of our listeners, which version? Yeah, are you in 2 Ghost or 3 Ghost?
2 or 3 is fine, and you need to have at least 2 Spirit Refuge.
Even if you plan on banning the mirror?
Then play 2.
You still on 2 Spirits Refuge? Is it like, I thought it was mainly just there for the mirror to stop other.
It's the only reason you beat Pirates.
Oh, Okay.
Just slap Spirit's Refuge on like Ruin Runner or something.
Yeah, I don't hate the card. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of
That's a really
Lifesteal.
good card. It's a really good card. Yeah. So Spirit's Refuge important. Ghost important. Yeah. The deck's just like inherently incredibly powerful. I could put it in my lineup. But like one is just going to get banned a lot, which is fine. You know, whatever. But I'm not sure how much I love a like I don't know what it fits with. I could go like Sivir Auction as Draven Lee. Like that doesn't make any sense. What does that lineup do?
I mean, what does my lineup do? GP Sej, Sivir, Zoe Lee.
Just good stuff.
Just good stuff.
So basically, it's the same lineup. Mine just has Ezreal instead of Plunder. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about playing GP Sej and Sivir being like the kind of the top two ladder decks. Like, do you think people are going to come like
Nope,
trying to
just play
gun
them.
for
They're
them?
good. Yes,
Yeah,
they will. No,
it's-
it will not work all the time.
Right? That's about what I was going to say. Like, there's so many decks. You're like, yeah, this deck beats that deck. It's like, yeah, it does it.
Does it?
Sometimes. Sometimes, kind of.
It's the best ladder deck because it's one of the best decks. Like,
Yeah.
like yes, you can target it. Like, I might show up with Zoe Lee, TK Raka, and Turbo Thralls, and yeah, you're probably gonna lose. But like then I have to play TK Raka, Turbo Thralls, and Zoe Lee. So
Yeah.
yep,
That's like,
Giving up a lot of
like
points
that
to other
lineup.
stuff.
Would that lineup just snap lose to triple aggro?
Yes, you snap loose to like a lot of things. Like yeah, triple aggro, the elusive decks, Aurelia's the Sivir decks. Like you just have to ban everything, which is the problem. You
Yeah.
crush the decks you show up to crush and just like lose to everything else.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, so for everyone trying to figure out your lineup, so what I basically just did there is I went through all the decks that I knew how to play already or felt comfortable playing, and that I thought were good. That from my testing, I had been like, for whatever reason, this one's just not working for me. And it's fine if a deck's not working for you. If, if everyone's like, oh, Sivir's so good, or GP Sedge is so good, or whatever, and you just like, it's just, you can't make it work or whatever, that's fine. Play to your strengths. Don't try and jam that up in there, because there's a reason that stuff's not working for you, most likely, if at all possible. Maybe you don't have that luxury. But what I'm trying to get at, though, is there's 1 week left. You probably only have enough time to learn, like, one deck, really. So you probably need to have 2 decks in your lineup right now that you know somewhat well. And then you maybe have time to learn, like, 1 more deck that you can, like, pick a deck out there. If you have time. If you're busy with life commitments and stuff, you just don't have time, then just definitely try not to pick up any decks that you don't know how to play. Because that is a surefire way to just lose. Because the best deck of the format played poorly will do infinitely worse than a random deck played by a pro or played professional, played at a high level. So I highly recommend doing what I just did and just make yourself, if you can't figure out your lineup, make yourself a nice little list of the stuff that you actually know how to play, and maybe it's been performing well enough for you, or maybe just the stuff you know how to play. Depends on how long or short your list is there. And then pick 2 of those and try to fit in a third if you have time. Something that makes sense if you have time to learn a third deck, because it takes a while. If you don't, or you don't feel like you want to learn a deck in the last week, you have to make a lineup from those 3, basically. And I think that will do you infinitely more good than just like picking decks because you think they're good or they make sense in your lineup or whatever. Because trust me, you're just going to lose games because there's going to be a million decks out there. You've never played your deck before, or you haven't played a lot. And you're going to get into a million different decks that you're going to play against, and you're going to get into a bunch of situations where again and again and again, you're going to be like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do here. And inevitably, you will make mistakes, and they will cost you. And so you want to try and avoid that as much as humanly possible.
It just really isn't. I mean, you found that out. Like, we talk about this all the time. Last seasonals, when you had one deck you were super, super confident on, and then you just picked up the other 2 best decks, and, like, just didn't work out.
No, just didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Try my best, but, like, there's a huge difference between trying to make, like, optimal plays at the time and knowing a matchup inside and out and having a strategy from turn one with your mulligans.
You look at your mulligan and like if you're super like you play a lot of Thresh, so you'd see a matchup and go, okay, this is my mulligan. I'm looking for these cards. Can't have this because of this happens on this turn. And then you switch decks to something else and you go, okay, is this good here? This seems like it might be good, right? And you just don't know.
You just guess.
Mm-hmm. It's not good. What I do want to talk about, if we're done moving on with this, is the new set is going to be coming out in a few weeks, 3 weeks, I believe. And then 2.5 weeks after that, World starts, which is insane. Insane. Yeah, Worlds is in a month and a week. And it's not just a new set, it's a new region gets added.
God, that's nuts.
Yeah, so that's going to be a bit of a scramble. Really going to be interesting to see. I'm going to have to just like buckle down. I'm just going to be playing 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm just going to do nothing else.
Yeah.
I'll probably like wake up, play some games, record a video, stream, play more games. Like that's
because like, just like we're talking about in these matchups when like not knowing stuff is a death null. Like you got 2 weeks. Everyone has 2 weeks. Now imagine your competition goes hard for 2 weeks and you like go like half that. Like they're just going to be a mile ahead of you. And there's not going to be all the group think. There's not like most people aren't going to be playing super hard. There's not going to be a bunch of other tournaments going on. So there's not going to be a lot of other data. So whoever's doing that work and figures out all the secrets and what's actually good and what isn't good and gets ahead of the curve, those are the people that are going to succeed and that are going to win at Worlds.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And so it's just going to be, 64 people in the America Shard just hard gunning for 2 weeks, just trying to get there.
Tough shard. The tough shard.
Tough shard. A lot of killers out there. It's going to be really fun. Looking forward to it. Hopefully you're there. Just top 32.
For anyone that doesn't know, I am right on the cusp. It looks like I'm not going to make it from the ladder, most likely. I probably needed like a top 12 or something finish on this season. Who knows, though? I've cleared my schedule. It is Friday today. I have a full week to go ham. But I'm definitely gonna try to not make the mistake I made last time of playing too much ladder. It's tough though when Worlds qualification is like, oh hey, it doesn't matter if you do good seasons if you just boop and get that top 10 finish. But I think I have enough time in the whole week now that I can do both. I can climb the ladder because you're busy this weekend, so I'm just gonna go ham on the ladder all day, Saturday, Sunday. And then during the week we could do scrims and polish our lineup and our lists and stuff. So I feel good. Like last weekend, I was like having a panic attack. I was like, I am so far out to lunch. I'm like, there's dead man walking. And so I feel good that I've like made it this far and I still have a solid week of like actual time. Sorry guys, by the way, we won't be putting out a whole lot of content this week. We got works to do. Other seasonals, yeah, okay, sure, maybe. This seasonal is so important because it's the last chance.
It's pretty important, yeah.
Yeah.
Less so for me, but
yeah.
I can take a season off.
So the main way that I can qualify for seasonals is I'm like 1 point. So you get a point for each game win in seasonals, and I'm currently 1 point behind the people that are qualified for seasonals. So it's going to come down to, and then there's like people like just above them, people just below. So it's really whoever does well at this seasonal. So probably like an 8-1 probably locks it, which would be a top 32. I gotta think that's like almost for sure a lock.
Probably.
A 7-2 will be close. Depends. It'll just depend on how everyone else does.
Yeah, I mean, a 7-2 if it qualified for top 32 would be perfect. But
yes,
the problem is
you
that
get
if it did
more
that,
points.
then like, yeah.
How? Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't even want to say this out loud because I don't want to jinx it. But I was like, what if I like don't qualify, but I'm like on like the cusp or something, And then, like,
and
the people that make it in top 32, I need them to either, like, lose first round or, like, top 4. Like, and you're like, oh,
yeah. I need
just
you to
win.
Sweating. Because that way you're out of competition. Yeah, I need these 2 people to get top 4. That way they're out of the competition. I need these 3 people to lose round 1. You're just like, oh,
Does
God.
Does anyone know Jay Sensational's address? I don't need it. It also had a DDoS someone. Unrelated.
Yeah.
Unrelated.
Or PayPal information. Either is fine. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough. I'm gonna be watching your seasonals more closely than I will be like paying attention to my own. Probably
gonna be
so no pressure. You know,
you know what? It's good pressure though. Last season it was bad pressure because I know what the fuck I was doing, so I was super just like white knuckling it, freaking out. This time I feel good. I feel very solid. I'm gonna get a lot of reps in, and like that's all you can do at the end of the day, right? Like you pick your lineup. Play it super well, put in the time and the work, and then it falls where it falls, you know? I think if I don't do well in the seasonals, like, I'm not going to be super upset about it, because I feel like I will have, at least by the time it rolls around, have set myself up for success, and I already feel like somewhat confident. I feel like that will hopefully grow throughout the week. You know, I think I'm happy with my lineup or whatever it ends up being. Yeah, just ready. I'm ready. You know, I'm like ready to go out there and perform. I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
I think you've done more scrimming this season than you have, like, so far, than you did the last 2 seasonals.
Technically, yeah. I never did any scrimming really before.
You never really did any scrimming.
Played the odd tournament.
Honestly, like, I didn't do very much either.
It's
tough because you're like, oh, I gotta make a good showing on ladder, and then I'm gonna play on stream, and I don't like to scrim on stream. I prefer to play ladder on stream. And it's like, oh, well, I gotta make this YouTube video, and then like, oh, I gotta learn this deck, so let me play it on ladder, and yeah, it's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's so much time. I don't know how other people do it. Like people that are like working full-time jobs and also have families and stuff, and like
I don't know, play max 2 hours a day maybe.
I feel embarrassed that I'm as bad as I am and I have like this much time
with all
to
the time
play the game.
Yeah,
the thing is though, that I don't play like you probably play, like I don't even know how much more you get to play than me, but it's significant. Like
I play a lot. Yeah,
3x might be like 3 times as much as me.
I probably play on average
but somewhere between 2 and 3, I would say.
I might play more than that, but like I play more on my stream days. Obviously, I probably play 6 hours on my stream days. But like nowadays, now that I have like because now I'm putting out a YouTube video every day, maybe more, maybe like let's say average like 5 or 6 hours a day, and that's between like streaming, making a YouTube video, and just playing. Some days I play a lot. Some days I'll play 10 hours.
I probably average around like 1.5 hours a day, because a lot of days I play 0 hours. A lot of days I don't play at all, or I'll play like 2 games or something. So yeah, like 1 to 2 on average. It might be 1, even 1.5. Wow. So yeah, it's not that's what like an average. That's like what, like, you know,
that's an average person.
Yeah, like a person playing casually would play. I don't know. Maybe there are times when I do play like significantly more, but like
this weekend better be one of those times. I expect you to go get some energy drinks and bust out an 8 to 10 hour day twice in a row.
Oh yeah. Oh bro, this weekend's like it's Sharon, my girlfriend's mom's birthday tomorrow, so we got over family dinner, and I'm like, that's the only thing. Like, that's the only. I'm gonna be at family dinner. I'm like, yeah, I love you guys. Yeah, Tax Report here.
No, I passed
yeah,
your
what's going on with your life? Sounds good.
Avalanche?
Ooh, block that. Yeah, get wrecked.
Really? Yep.
And then other than that, it's gonna be 12-hour days. Just go.
That's when I feel like I get, because I used to do the same with Magic, where like I like to grind. I like to play a shitload. I used to do that with Magic too. Like I would just play Magic online like all day, and then I would go to tournaments. And that's like usually how I just like learn, is I don't do a lot of scrimming. I just play.
Kind of
just figure it out.
Because if I find that if you have that repeated like games, like it helps like really cement it in your brain. You're like you
Yeah.
iterate
Other
a
than
little
just
bit.
playing like one or two. Yeah.
Yeah, you just keep iterating a little bit as you go, and like you can make progress that way. But yeah, if you're just playing a couple,
the best way for
forget,
for
you come
learn,
back.
I think. But like I would do the same thing with Magic, and there would be like a week where I'm just like, I'm so frustrated, I can't figure out what's good, I keep losing, I lose with everything, I don't get it, and then 4 days in, all of a sudden I can't lose, I just win everything, and like nothing really changed. I'm playing the same stuff, but it's just like kind of clicked.
Yeah, you kind of like process of elimination, got rid of all the bad plays, right? Like don't do that,
rid of all the bad plays,
don't
and
do that.
I slowly figured it out, and then I would, in essence, boil things down to like their most like compact, like.
You are very good at that. That's like a skill that you have that I think serves you really well.
It does serve me really well, but it does tend to like, it's tough to share some of these ideas because they do tend to lean a little hyperbolic.
How so?
You know what I mean? Like if I say, if you keep this, do this, and keep this for this, you can't lose. And like, that's not true, obviously. I'm exaggerating to like prove a point.
Yeah, I find them very helpful. Anytime you say that stuff to me, I'm like, light bulb. And I'm like, I get it. And I get that it's not like that's literally the only thing you can do. I'm like, okay, you also got to deal with these piss-ass 2/2s and whatever. But then here's our end game plan. This is... because that stuff for me is really hard. I guess I don't really ever try to boil the match down. I'm always like... Because I'm always like, what could they have this turn? 1,000,000 options. And what could they do that turn? 1,000,000 options. And I kind of end up like...
to try to make it...
Overthink.
I like to try to make each matchup like 2 sentences. I like to like explain to you a matchup in 2 sentences. Like, as long as you play around this and do this, then you're good. You have to mulligan for this, and you have to keep this up for this. Like, those... And it doesn't sum up an entire matchup, but I feel like it gives you a direction. And then once you're getting into a direction, like once you have like a direction in mind, I feel like you can kind of steer the game towards that point. It makes, once you have a plan, and it all comes back to that, we talk about that a lot. Once you have a plan from the match screen, it says, boom, this deck, and you go, here's my plan. Here's my 2-sentence plan, right? And then you go into your mulligans, and you go, well, I can mulligan this, even though it looks good, because it doesn't contribute to my plan. Right? This is where I need the game to go, so I need to be looking for this stuff. And then it makes each turn, I feel like, so much easier, because you already know what direction you want things to go. You just have to figure out how to get it there. It helps me a lot. Like, I think when I was the best I've ever been at any format was I used to grind Pauper on Magic Online all day, every day. I was one of the best Pauper players on Magic Online. Cool. And at one point, I had like a notebook where it was 2 sentences for each matchup in my favorite, with my favorite deck. And it would be something along the lines of like, okay, I just look for this card, and if I find this card at any point in the match, I'll probably win. And like, just stuff like that. Or it's like, okay, if I can kill this unit without them doing this, then I'll win. And I would just have these little like snippets, and it helps me. Maybe that's just like not how. Maybe it's not super helpful.
I find it super helpful. I feel like every time I'm lost, and then you give me this snippet, and then I'm like, I got it. Boom. And I just go crush now.
I think it helps a lot. For me, at least. And
okay, so let's do a little exercise. We just played some GP Sej on Anivia, and all the games played out somewhat differently, but somewhat the same. So what would your snippet on either side there be? Because I'm mentally like, okay, I kind of have a thing, but I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Okay, so we haven't played this matchup much, right? I played maybe 4 games total.
Okay.
Of the matchup from both sides. So like, I'm not super sure, but like, to me it boils down to you have to stop the early push. That's like step 1. So this could be with Kindly Tavern Keeper, this could be with Avalanche. You have to stop the X2s from running you over. That's like step 1. And then step 2 is just vengeance. Like, you have to stop the early push and you have to kill the champions. And it seems like nothing else really matters. Like, even we were talking about this. There's just a bunch of dinky units left, and Anivia deals with the dinky units so well. After the initial push, like they can hit you pretty hard at like turn 3 or 4. But once you like avalanche those away, or you have a good blocker, they don't really matter anymore. And then the only thing that matters in the game is like champions and Dreadway.
Yeah.
Is that your experience as well? Because that's how I felt from that side.
Yeah, so going into it, I was kind of like, all that really, exactly, kill the little units, that's easy for Nivea to do. And then it's like, they're big champs that you have to deal with, and the ways to deal with them are Vengeance and, like, maybe Ruination, but it's kind of slow. But from our playing, what I found was that, yes, the matchup can definitely go that way, and typically Anivia wins when it does. But, the deck has 6 champs and 2 boats, and Anivia only has 2 to 3
the most
Vengeances.
Popular list is on 3. Yeah, that's what's killing me.
Boat being the biggest problem because it goes against Gangplank, so it's basically 2 things that you need to Vengeance, which you can't really. And all the spells dealing double damage lets the deck actually be able to, like, get some reach and burn you out, which we saw happen a couple matches.
And it's tough to, like, because that happens turn, like, 6 through 9, right? Is when, like, champs come into play. And you can't get 2 Anivias, really, by then.
It's hard.
Because, like, you have to have one die, play another one, and then play Rekindler. That's, like, the only way to get 2 Anivias. Or, like, Gluttony one and then play Rekindler, which is kind of just the nuts. If your hand is Anivia, Gluttony, Rekindler. And it all goes through. But, like, yeah, you can't really get multiple Anivias, and it's very hard to kill these champs off damage.
Yeah.
They're big. By the time they're playing them, like, these are 6, 7 health units. Like, yeah, you could cast 2 Avalanches and attack with your Anivia and then cast Vile Feast or something, but I don't know, that doesn't seem very good. And that seems to be what the matchup hinged on the most. Was, like, mostly Gangplank. Gangplank and Dreadway were just so difficult for the Anivia deck to, like, deal with well. That if you could I from the Plunder side, I would basically just put in my early aggression, do my normal stuff, level my champions. The little, like, dings and stuff you get on the deck, like the little, like, Corsair shot and warning shot and make it rain, like squeezing in extra points of damage seemed so irrelevant most of the time because you
but
just
it
be
adds
like,
up.
It does add up, but it really feels bad when you go Kindly Tavern Keeper, Withering Wail, and I'm like, right?
Yeah.
God damn it, that make it rain damage didn't really do much. But it is really important to level your champions because then I just want to start slamming champions every single turn. Namely Gangplank. Like, you played Sejuani one turn, and I was forced to Vengeance it, and that felt so bad because I was like, I want to save this Vengeance for, like, Gangplank and Dreadway, but I just can't deal with this 6 power overwhelming unit right now. The matchup is, like, we did talk about this, matchup is Anivia favored. But not as much as we'd like it to be.
Yeah, so I think we've done a good job of breaking it down. From the Plunder side, it's like hit them fast and hard, level up your champs, and then it's all Dreadway and Gangplank and a little bit Sejuani trying to finish them off. Sometimes you can get them with the spells with Dreadway, setting that stuff up.
Yeah.
You just kind of do what you can at the end.
We play into Ruination a lot.
Yeah.
Because the deck often doesn't have it. Like, a lot of times you can just be like, well, okay, Dreadway, Gangplank, like,
yeah, what you got?
deal with it. Yeah, look at your opponent's list. Like, if they have 2 plus Ruination, then, like, maybe don't do that. But most lists are on, like, 1.
Yeah, I was on 2 and I didn't really like it, but looking back, maybe I should have been firing them off. That means I was only on 2 Vengeance at the time. And then, on the Nivea side, exactly like you said, deal with their early stuff, and then try to stop their champs with Vengeance. But then also, I think you need to very quickly try and turn that corner and try and get your Anivias going and, like, end the game. Or get that, like,
you do kill them actually very fast. The Anivia attack triggers, they often won't block your Anivias. You do get in damage, the Blighted Ravine damage.
Your extra guys just hitting them.
Yeah, you actually, like, I was surprised when I was, like, the Plunder deck or something, and all of a sudden I'm at 7.
Yeah, I was surprised
on
too.
Turn 8, and I was like,
how'd that happen?
So yeah, you definitely want to turn that corner fast. If the Plunder deck steals your Harrowing, you actually just lose. Like, you have Ruination, or you lose the game. And That's kind of funny. Although I kept stealing Gluttony because I'm not very good. I kept stealing the bad cards. But yeah, like I think again it helps to have like this plan coming out the gate. One I talk about a lot because this matchup always comes up, and I love this matchup. Is Zoe Lee versus like Ezreal Draven, and my like little I play it a little differently. I feel like not super differently, but like I just feel like I'm more aware of like my win condition from like the Zoe Lee side. And that is to like never let damage get put on Lee. Like nothing matters if Lee doesn't get damaged. The deck's not fast enough to kill you before you can set up your combo kill. If you play anything before Lee, then if you can keep damage off Lee, you just win the game. Like they just can't interact with it. So you either like keep up your guiding touch, you even barrier for like a mystic shot. You know, you just do not let damage go on Lee. And then they can't interact with him because Scorched Earth is the only thing that really kills him. If you have mana up and stuff, maybe they tri-beam you for 8 or like slap a huge thermo down, but you should probably be prepared to deal with that. And the matchup is super easy for Lee. And then on the other side, I know that. So I won't waste things like Mystic Shot on little dinky units if I don't have to, because I just want to overwhelm their interaction and put damage on Lee so I can finish him with a Scorched Earth or something like that. This was super important for like a week in the Thresh Nasus versus Ezreal Draven matchup last season. This matchup was everywhere, and people figured out that from the Thresh Nasus side, you go super, super aggressive early, you just throw everything at them, do a bunch of damage, get your Nasus up to where it equals or is greater than their health total, and then you do nothing. You immediately switch to full shutdown turtle defense. You block everything. You don't even attack. You just block everything. And then on turn 10, you play Nasus and you play Atrocity immediately. And you win, because they can't deal with it. And so people had just a huge edge. Like, the people who knew how to play that matchup had a huge edge over the people who didn't. And that wasn't, like, immediately apparent, but since we'd put so much time in and so many reps, we, like, figured this out. And, like, how much do you think that helped you? It helped me tremendously.
Oh, man. Before people knew what was going on, I was just crushing. I would just beat them every single time. Eventually, they caught on. It doesn't take very long to realize, hey, this keeps happening. Or like, hey, weird, they're not doing anything anymore. Oh, wait, I need to start killing them. So then the easy driven players did start realizing, like, oh, I need to kill them before turn 10.
On
so
like turn 5, I need to start hitting them, right?
Yeah, Ezreal gets in there, everyone gets in there, time to go ham. And then the matchup became more difficult again. But before that, when we had the leg up, we just get time after time. I'm like, haha, they're just passing the turn here. Oh, that's so cute.
Thank you.
Free turn.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
one closer to 10. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Just weird how that works. It's another thing we talk about all the time is just like, you think a matchup's one way, either it's really good or it's really bad, and then you find out that if you just play it differently, or if you put more value on something, then all of a sudden it changes. Maybe the matchup's not as bad as you think. Maybe it's actually favored,
Almost every matchup is very nuanced.
It's wild. Yeah, it's wild how that works. And so that's why we're always pushing for you to play what you know well. Because these edges are worth so much more than the edge you would get from just having like the hottest deck of the week.
Yeah. And look, what's going to happen, like we're saying, is you go to seasonals and people will be ready. They will have this information about your deck and how to beat you, and you will not have it, and you'll walk right into the stuff that we're just talking about right now. Real quick, before we wrap up, when you're talking about Lee Sin, Zoe versus Easy Draven, and you're talking about keeping damage off of your Lee Sin, Guiding Touch is obviously very good at doing this. Will you imagine your Lee Sin has damage on it? Will you proactively just heal it so that they can't even cast a Scorched Earth on it? Because if they cast the Scorched Earth and then you heal, then they can just damage it again, right? So it's like a dangerous game.
It like depends on the situation. There's spots where I'm like, I can keep this Lee alive. Like, I know that even if they have Scorched Earth, Ravenous Flock, Mystic Shot, I can keep this Lee alive. Like, I have this I have my guiding touch,
a bunch of cards. They don't have a bunch of cards.
And I have a Notify. Like I don't got to worry about it, right? And so I want them to throw stuff because I'm prepared to deal with it. But other times, yes, I will proactively guiding touch so that my opponent cannot even start to Scorched Earth my Lee. Because once they put it on the stack, then they can put damage on him after, even if you heal him. But if they can't target him at all, then they just can't interact with him in like any meaningful way, right?
Yeah, I've made that mistake before. I was like, haha, gonna get him. And they're like, Scorched Earth. And I'm like, heal it. And they're like, Mystic Shot it. And I was like, counter. They're like, Mystic Shot again. And I was like,
oh no. Yeah. It's super easy for them to go Scorched Earth, double Ravenous, and you just lose the game. And it's really nice to like get them, right? Get the card advantage or whatever. But you know what's nicer? Just winning.
Yeah, not losing.
You know? And like, I've seen that. I've played both sides of the matchups like so many times, and I've seen that on the Ezreal Draven side where my opponent keeps their guiding touch to try to get me when they have like Zenith Lee and enough power to kill me, and I'm like, just make it so I can't touch him and kill me, but they leave it up because they want to get me, and I just kill them. You know, I just go Scorched Earth, and then they're like, okay, guiding touch, he, and you're like, okay, Mystic Shot, like, okay, Static Shock, like. I'm prepared for this. I've been saving all this burn spell because I know how this works. And if they just started with Guiding Touch, I'd have lost the game.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever. Keep misplaying, guys. You're helping me out.
So, that's it for us. Bae, you have any parting words for anyone maybe going in their first seasonals or trying to figure out a lineup? This crazy meta of ours?
Don't overthink it. We say as we overthought it in this entire hour of podcasting. But honestly, like, don't overthink it. I always just come to the conclusion I'm going to play the decks I like, and I'm going to play the decks that I know. And it always works. Like, it's the best decision. Don't switch. Like, if you have the most experience on one deck, but you don't think it's a good tournament deck, doesn't matter, just play it anyway. And don't let yourself get too nervous about it. Just have fun with it. It's a good time.
Yeah. There's another thing about also like feel good, look good, feel good, play good. Mm-hmm. If you're having fun, you're going to be playing a lot better.
You're going to be playing a lot better.
Yeah, I would much rather. Well, I was going to say I'd rather lose with the deck that I'm having fun with and win with the deck I'm not having fun with, but that's not really true. I would rather lose with the deck I'm having fun with than lose with the deck that I'm not having fun with.
That's true. That's true in like seasonals, but I would rather lose with a deck I enjoy than win with like a Zerarelia, for example. I get tilted winning with that deck. That's how much I don't like to play that deck.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, so make sure you're still having fun. Don't forget it's just a game, and at the end of the day, we all want to win, but we can't all win. So just do your best. Keep learning. If you keep a learning mindset. You cannot lose.
You gotta remember
keep a
your
winning
own
mindset
tagline.
too. That can't.
Yeah, also a winning mindset. All right, guys, that's it for us.
We're out.
See you next time.
Peace.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bae. New episodes come out every Friday. If you haven't done so already, be sure to join us on Discord, check out the Patreon team, and have a look at our deck database on Twitter at Master Runeterra. Links to all of these can be found in the show notes and description.